As I was leafing through the pages of the December 2022 issue of Remind magazine and thinking about all of the stars that we've lost so far this year, it became very apparent that this has been a really tough one. Most of the pages of this month's issue are dedicated to remembering the stars that we've loved and lost. I'm only going to cover a small portion of them in this video, so if you find this video useful or interesting, I'd encourage you to track down this month's issue. Alright, without any further ado, let's get rolling. Wow, this one was particularly hard. Olivia Newton-John seemed to be forever young. That said, I was aware that she had been battling cancer for decades. In fact, Olivia beat down that darn disease 3 times before finally succumbing in August. Sadly, Olivia wasn't the only songstress that we lost this year. In April, Naomi Judd took her final bow, and then just a couple of months ago, we lost another country music legend, Loretta Lynn. Exactly a week later, Angela Lansbury, star of stage and screen, left us as well. And it wasn't just women. Actors who made their careers by playing tough guys on screen gave their final performances as well. I'm talking about Ray Liotta, Paul Sorvino, James Caan, and Tony Sirico. They will all truly be missed. And fans of classic television shuddered to hear news of Nichelle Nichols' passing. The role of Lieutenant Uhura was an important one in the way that Nichelle broke through man-made obstacles created due to her gender and race. As a lifelong fan of the classic TV show Leave It to Beaver, I was personally hit hard by the news of Tony Dow's death. And Emilio Delgado, who played handyman Luis Rodriguez on Sesame Street, is gone as well. I was 5 years old when Sesame Street debuted on PBS, and I must admit that I loved all of those original cast members. And in the world of comedy, no one was laughing when we got news of the passing of Gilbert Gottfried, Bob Saget, Louis Anderson, and Estelle Harris. All of these very funny people at one time or another played beloved characters on television and in movies. Well, maybe beloved is the wrong word to describe Gilbert's characters, but the dude was funny, as was Howard Hesseman and Larry Storch. Also taking their final bows were William Hurt and Sally Kellerman. And there is no way that I'm not going to mention the irrepressible Betty White, even though her date of death was actually the final day of 2021. And as a lifelong fan of Dolby Gillis, I better acknowledge Dwayne Hickman's passing as well. And I know we were all shocked to learn about Anne Heche's death that was due to injuries sustained in a car accident. Without a doubt, Anne had her struggles, but no one expected her life to be cut short like that. Recent deaths that weren't acknowledged in the December issue of Remind include Kevin Conroy, Irene Cara, and Christine McVeigh. Kevin's death was due to cancer, but we're still a bit hazy around the cause of death for Irene and Christine. I imagine that we'll learn more over the coming weeks about both of these wonderful singers. Not every page of this month's issue of Remind is dedicated to memorializing those stars that we've loved and lost. There's also a section dedicated to the year 1995. Is it truly possible that Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson were newly married back then? It really doesn't seem that long ago. The Drew Carey Show premiered on ABC that year, and Matlock would air its final episode. Big movies in 1995 were Braveheart, Apollo 13, and Toy Story. And who can forget that 1995 was the year that eBay made its debut on the internet. And as always, there are oodles of puzzles to work through. Yep, 11 action-packed pages of crosswords, word searches, Sudoku, and more. This month's Ultimate Trivia section challenges you to demonstrate just how well you know the stars that we lost in 2022. Just looking at the pictures here, I can tell that I'm going to enjoy celebrating the legacies of many of my favorite stars. Like I said earlier, I've only covered a small portion of this month's farewell issue. I'll post a link to the magazine's online subscription form in the description section of this video. And as a reminder, I'm not receiving any sort of financial compensation for this video from the good people over at Remind Magazine. I'm just a big fan of their work. Folks, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from decades gone by. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.